Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this card here in a slightly different colour combination. Same colours, just the card and the inks and everything are just changed up a little bit. So this is actually one of the cards that will be going out to all my customers when I send out the new catalogues to them. I always do 2 or 3 creative ideas, so there's always 2 or 3 cards in with the catalogues that I send out. So if you would like to receive a catalogue from me and you live in the UK, or you have a UK address that someone's prepared to mail you, me to mail to them so they can forward on to you, that's fine. Just email me or text me. The information is in the show more section under today's video, and also on my blog, and there is a direct link from today's video to my blog, so no worries about finding it. So just toodle on over, drop me an email or a text, obviously with your address details, and I will send a catalogue and a few cards out to you. So this is going to be the card we're making, and it uses the In the Meadow stamp set. I wasn't convinced when I saw this in the seasonal catalogue, the spring summer one, and didn't order it. And then I was going through for my pre-order for the new products that we can get in advance for the new catalogue, and I have re-looked at the stamp set and the sentiments, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. So I ordered it, and it arrived earlier this week, and I played around with it a little bit and came up with the design and thought, yep, okay, I'm sold. So I'm now quite happy with the stamp set, and really wish I'd got it sooner, but there you go. It's going to be in the annual catalogue, so it doesn't matter anyway. So that's the main product that you're going to need. We're also using one of the products that is going to be in the new catalogue, which is these square, they're called Layering Squares Framelits dies, so they're brand new from Stampin' Up. So we're going to be using those, and put those away because I lose them. And then there's quite a lot of ink pads. The main reason, because we're going to be doing some sponging, so you will need a stamping sponge that you've cut in 4/4. And then the ink pads are Cucumber Crush, Delightful Dijon, Mint Macaron, Tip Top Taupe, and those all come from the In Colour 2015 to 17 In Colour collection. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's one that I haven't used there, and mine's gone blank. I can't think now. Oh, I haven't used Watermelon Wonder. That's it. And then the other 2 colours that I'm using is Chocolate Chip for the sentiment, and Always Artichoke for the little leaf. And that is pretty much it, apart from some tear and tape there, and some Stampin' Dimensionals, and that's all. Right. So to start with, your card base, this is all the bits that you're going to need. So your card base is Mint Macaron, and what I've done is I scored through the middle of an A4 piece of cardstock at 15 centimetres, rotated it round, and then cut at 10.5 centimetres, and that gives you 2 of these tall mountain fold cards. which I am favouring at the moment. I really rather like it. I think they show off cards nicely and sit really well on the mantle. So you get 2 of those, obviously, to an A4 piece of cardstock. So all I've done is I've used my bone folder just to burnish, and I'll put that to one side. Then you have got a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and that measures 14.4 by 10.1 centimetres. You've got a piece of the In Colour Designer Series paper, and that's from the actual colour collection stack, and that measures 10.1 by 5 centimetres. And then there's just a 2 centimetre wide piece of Tip Top Taupe cardstock that we're going to stamp the sentiment onto, and that just needs to be it needs to go across the width, so it needs to be at least 10.5 centimetres. So right, we're going to start by stamping our mountainous background. I think they're mountains. They could be sand dunes. It could be the cliffs over the water. And I think depending on how you put your card together, it could be any or all of those. I'm just going to stamp this in the top third of that piece there, and that's in Tip Top Taupe. And then whilst that dries for a moment, because if I sponge over it straight away, we'll get Tip Top Taupe coming out in the sponging as well. So using the chocolate chip ink pad and my little stamp, the sentiment, which says to someone who's great to be around. I think that's super sweet and could be used for all sorts of occasions, isn't it? Quite versatile. So you just want to, if you have cleaned your stamp, just one, check you're using it the right way round, which I wasn't, and secondly, just make sure the stamp is coming out nice and crisp. So I'm just going to stamp this down towards this end, but allowing a little bit of space for a banner end. There we go. And then with your paper snips, you just need to snip in about 1/2 centimetre. You can make fairly wide banner ends and then go to the centre from the edge, go diagonally to that centre again, and there is your banner end. Now I happen to know this is a little bit too long, so I'm going to take a strip off there. Whilst I'm here, I am going to run a piece of tear and tape along the back here, ready for putting the card together. And I'm also going to put, oh look, I'd already done one side. I obviously wasn't happy with the first side, was I? Right, so I'm going to put some tear and tape down 2 edges here. You could use fast fuse. I know I do tend to use fast fuse a lot. I just happen to have tear and tape right next to me, so that's what I am using. So that's that bit, that's that bit. This can now be popped down on here, so again, just a couple of bits of tear and tape. This is great for using for heavier papers, cardstocks. Absolutely superb for putting ribbon down onto cards. Right, so that's that bit done, that's that bit done. Now we can start sponging. So start with mint macaron, and we're just going to ink up the sky. Now what I tend to do is get it well inked up, because what you find is it tends to be a bit patchy to start off with, and there's nothing worse than and not very you know, lots of squidgy marks on there. So start off the page and sponge over, ink up again, and you actually want to come right the way down to just below the mountainous area. There you go. You can make that as moody or as light as you want it to be. Every one of my 60 odd cards came out looking a different colour, so it doesn't matter. You then want another piece of Stampin sponge, and for this one we are using Delightful Dijon. Now you do want to make sure you get quite a bit off of this. You don't want it too intense, and you're going to make it as if there's like the sun coming down, so you want almost a halo effect in the middle here, and that is literally all that you want with that. So we can now mat these two pieces together and put the banner on. And typical, it doesn't want to come off. There we go. One piece, two pieces, and pop this down at the bottom. Just so, and then we can pop this down straight onto our card base here, because the rest of the work is done separately. And straight down here. Go. And then this you're going to have here, and you want that sentiment to be really butted up to the edge, otherwise there won't be space for the little die cut. And you'll see why I chose it as a choice, because actually it's really quick and really simple to make and put together, which is great news when you're when time's a bit short, or you're, you know, making things in bulk. Right, I'm just going to cut a rough square out, and then we can die cut. Now there's different ways of deciding on the width of the square that you want. You do want your card here so you can kind of measure it up. And there's 4 different designs of squares in here. So some of them have got scallops, and the 2 lots have got scallops of different types and sizes, and then you've got the smaller squares. I am using this for this flower, grass flower, and it won't all get in there, but what you want is it needs to be able to fit in against that sentiment, just so, yeah. And obviously the blades are inset, so it would be more like that. So that will be fine for that sentiment there. You could try going down one, or you could try this over here. Let's see if that's a better fit. Actually, that's a bit of a better fit. So we'll go with that one. And otherwise, what you will find is on the front, I never know which is front and back. I suppose that's the front because it's got the big shot name on there. It tells you how to do the die cutting. But on the back here, where it's in the white section, you will find it tells you how many dies are in here and what sizes they are as well. So it gives you a lot of information so you can decide. Now, I happen to know that I'm not going to get that whole image in there. But if you were, the easiest way of finding out if you've got the right size is just simply to place it over the top of your stamp. And if it just goes over the top, you'll know you'll be fine. If it isn't, this is just maybe a millimetre too small for that particular stamp. So that's the easiest way, just pop it up against it and go with that. So we're actually going to die cut this before we do the stamping. And there is a reason for that. So up comes my big shot. There we go. And I want my piece of very vanilla cardstock. And pop that. So I'm using a magnetic platform here. So you would have either the multi-purpose platform at the bottom or the magnetic platform. And then just pop your cardstock on. If you are stamping it first, have the cardstock so the stamp side faces up. Then have your die so that the cutting blades, these are the cutting blades, a little raised edge around here. So have those so they face down, and then you pop your second acrylic cutting plate on top. Wind, take purchase on the handle and run it through. And that clicking just tells you that the die is doing its job, it's actually cutting. And what it causes is a slight warping of the plate. So you just have to rotate the plates each time. And I shall pop that back because that's all the die cutting. And I'm going to pop my die back in the pack before I lose it. If you follow my blogs, you will know I'm terrible at losing little dies. There's my die cut. So we're going to use that flower stamp. And for this, I'm using the Always Artichoke. And I'm using this because it creates a nice contrast to the other colours that are quite muted, really. So I'm going to line it up according to the topmost flower, and you will not get the whole image on here, as I say, but you get enough just to create a little accent topper there. Take a fresh piece of sponge and the Cucumber Crush ink pad. Bear with me, it does work. Just get a small amount of ink on the sponge, you don't want a lot. And then very gently go around the edges of that, and a little bit more. And all you're doing is framing that little stamp. And then as you get to the bottom, you just want to bring that colour in at the bottom, just to make it more grassy. There we go. So bring in your card again. You just need to pop some Stampin' dimensionals on here. And I had those out. I left them over here, yes. Sorry, I would talk to myself terribly when I'm working and I tend to do it on camera as well, so I do apologise. Right, 4 little Stampin' dimensionals, sticky fixers, a lot of people know them as. I love the Stampin' Up ones. They save me a huge amount of money compared to the old sticky fixers, because they're more robust, they're thicker, they last for absolutely ever, and you don't need to use very many of them. Right, so this is just going to be positioned between this edge of the card and the start of the sentiment, so you get that layered effect. And ta-da! There is your card. Told you it was going to be quick today, didn't I? I know I normally go on forever. I'm terrible like that. So today I thought nice and quick, because if you're making cards in bulk, they need to be really quick and simple to make, but very attractive for the beholder. There you are. Right, so don't forget, all of my social media account information is in the Show More section under today's video. There is a direct link to my blog. Just click on that link. Alternatively, just, oh, I can never tell which is top right. I think that is, or is that top right? My viewer is upside down, so anyway, in the top right of the video, once I've put it on YouTube, will be a little eye icon. If you hover over that, it will say something probably like find more tutorials on my blog. Just click on that card and it will take you straight through to today's project on my blog. And that's it for today, folks. If there's anything you would like, and there is a small tissue box coming tutorial, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. So I do take requests, and that will be following in the very near future now. And yeah, leave your comments, share your pictures on my community Pinterest board. All you have to do is start following the board, and I will check you out, make sure you're into Papercraft, and then I'll send you an invitation to start pinning on my Pinterest page, and then we can see what you make as well. Thanks for watching and putting up with my fuzzy head today, and I'll see you again for another tutorial tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.